petition. It's dated for April 15th, but he sent it to us in a Word document so that if it's deemed incomplete, we can change the date and try for completeness later. The order also refers to the scheduling of the required public meeting to discuss the merits of the petition. As you know, this meeting can be held no sooner than 60 days following the date in which the notice is mailed to prospective members. Frank, that's what you were just talking about. Once the notice is approved by the commission, once the notice is approved by the commission, Snowshoe will be accountable to mail the notice as per the procedures agreed to with Mr. Martin. If indeed the petition is deemed complete on April 15th, that would be the purpose of this meeting here tonight. If indeed the petition is deemed complete tonight, Snowshoe will be prepared to mail these on or before April 25th. The commission would then be permitted to schedule the meeting for any time after June 24th. Now that's 60 days later than the mail would, June 24th. I would therefore request either July 1st or July 15th as the date of the meeting. Those will be commission meeting dates. This portion of the order is left intentionally blank to allow the commission to determine that meeting date. So I guess I may be getting a little ahead of myself. Perhaps the first thing we should do is determine whether we think it's complete or not. But before we do that, I would still like to talk more about the date. My feeling is that we've had some input from citizens, homeowners of Snowshoe, a few, to me anyway, that have asked for such things to be discussed at evening meetings only so that they could have a better chance of attending. So my first thought was that if we get that far, it will be July 15th. However, I was talking with Sue about it before the meeting started, and we were thinking that after all, that maybe if we get that far, a special meeting would be more appropriate in the evening, just for this one item.
And I would say, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but you may want to have that meeting at a location in Snowshoe where all the homeowners are. I don't know. You can't do that.
Okay. Courthouse grounds.
Okay.
Probably what we would try to do, Mr. DeBerry, again, I'm maybe getting a little ahead of things here, but if we get this far, probably upstairs in the courtroom.
Okay.
More room.
Okay.
But let's back up and take things one step at a time here. I suppose what we should do is hear from a few members of the public, and then we'll consider whether we deem this petition complete or not. I'd like to give everybody a chance to speak there. Now, I realize it may be sort of not really what tonight's meeting is about. The agenda item is about deeming this petition complete. And then the public process starts. I'm aware of that. But nevertheless, there are people here, and I feel like you probably want to say something, so I want you to have a chance to speak.
I have.
First hand up here. Mr. Litzy, go ahead.
I attempted to read through this as carefully as I could, and I was not aware, could not find any discussion as to the effect of the claim in the Inchwest S1 that Snowshoe Mountain Corporation had 359 acres of vacant land and was entitled to establish 1,464 new units not heretofore disclosed, and what the impact of that would be on the various voting categories, and whether or not they would simply, at that point in time, be totally able to unilaterally overwhelm any and all residents, non-residents, owners of other properties, in all of the categories that land ownership is the key. The second area that I wasn't able to find any information about had to do with the water plant and water distribution system that they disclosed had a number of difficulties, such that, just to read it, Snowshoe, through its subsidiary Cheat Mountain Water Company, a private utility, owns and operates a potable water facility that is approximately 40 years old and requires state and local permits to operate it in Pocahontas County in the state of West Virginia. Due to the age of this facility and increasingly more stringent water discharge standards, we are are evaluating our options with respect to the facility, including potentially transferring the facility to a private operator, non-for-profit, or municipality in the next few years. In reading over the financial impact of this process, I was unable to find any disclosure whatsoever as to whatever effect this might be. Now, if I were an investor, I would consider that a material defect in disclosure. That is significant. As you well know, the correction of the issues in the sewer system is now about $27 million. The ratepayer ends up picking up that tab, whether it's a profit-making private enterprise or a public. They all operate under the Public Service Commission.
Right.
Without those disclosures and a study of what those impacts would be, I don't know how a property owner would know how to vote. 1,464 new votes is a lot, and it would just, I mean, I think there's about 1,900 existing improved property owners, but there's a number of these votes that are not restricted in any way to improved property owners, even though they end up picking up about 85% of all of the bills. And there's a number of circumstances where it's simply the total vote of all property owners that can override even the 6 out of 7 issues. So, you know, what I'm looking for is a more complete disclosure, and this is their document, InterWest document, in terms of its public offering statement. It is a sworn document, and false statements made in this document can end up in imprisonment. So I don't think that they were kidding about these disclosures, and it's a publicly available document.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. First thing I want to ask about is the 464 new property lots. We have a list that was handed to us with a petition of property owners. So, Mr. DeBerry, can you comment on this list we have and what the alleged lots are about? Or?
That list, and I've responded to Mr. Lissy's concerns over the property lines before, and I'm happy to do it again. That list is a list of property breakdowns, lots that are currently listed with the tax department.
Okay.
Okay, and Snowshoe hasn't changed our ownership of any of those since this process started. We have no intention to change our ownership to manipulate the board in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
That is every lot listed within the proposed district and the ownership of those lots. Hasn't, you know, it is as it was, and every time someone sells a property, we've updated that list and kept it maintained. Okay. The S1 filing with the SEC when our parent company InterWest went public refers to plans that InterWest has developed in regard to potential uses of. There's a potential new condo building that we have done all of the work for, and then that in 2008 we stopped doing any more work for because the real estate crash hit, and that S1 is intended to inform investors of the most recent thought process of development that the company had developed at the time that the S1 was filed.
Okay.
So it has no material impact on the current voting. If a new building were to be built and there were to be 400 new residential owners within that building, there would be 400 new members of the district. Right. So So that's, if an undeveloped lot were developed, there would be one less owner of undeveloped property and one more owner of developed property in the
Right.
district. That's how it, moves
Okay.
forward.
See, I agree with you that the S1 issue is not material to the decision we made tonight. And I think there's more to be said about that. That should be done in the public process that would follow from this. I did think that the question about the number of lots was relevant. So this list we have is the list. And
Every
you said
lot, every
before-
condo, every single family home, and the ownership of those properties. Pulled directly from the assessor's office.
Okay.
So right now on undeveloped property, that's just one boat, whether snowshoe owns it or some individual owns it.
Yeah, and again, we used existing lot lines as they're drawn today. So Snowshoe does own more than half of the undeveloped lots.
But if you
We've owned-
put a condo or
Right.
a building on that lot that had 400 units in it, then that one lot would go to 400 individual voters,
It
right?
would. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Beard, any thoughts on Mr. Litz's comments or Mr. DeBerry's?
No,
response to that?
it's a good question to bring up. There's someone wants to.
I just want to make sure that we've got Mr. Litzy covered first.
Well,
And
would it not be appropriate to include in this statement that IntraWest has declared that there are 1,464 more undeveloped properties which may be recorded at the courthouse at any time it so chooses in the future? I mean, that to me
that's
is...
not the list to be considered in the mailing and the vote. Is that correct?
That's correct. And that is, that's
That won't be the starting point.
they're
But what you're...
Okay.
they're separate
We're
issues.
going to go on from that one now. I think it's sufficient answer for now. Thank you, Mr. Litzy.
I was just
What's your name for the record?
I have a question.
What's your name for the record, sir?
Oh, Rick Mark.
Okay, you signed, yes, you called ahead and we've signed you in. Thank you,
I'm
Mr.
sorry
Marker.
it's late, but
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
do you have all the property within the resort area district that's unimproved property? You don't have that broken down into lots or something and then have one vote per lot?
Yes, sir.
That's the way that is. Okay. I have some questions, and I'm not sure if this is the right time. It's about,
Go ahead and ask him, and I'll let you know if I think,
okay.
or we'll let you know if you think we should put him on to a public hearing.
if there's no provision for a sunset, so-called sunset, or
Correct,
dissolution of the thing.
correct. If this gets approved at some future date, then it's there in perpetuity.
Well, I was sort of surprised that